FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And tonight, we actually have a band member. We're talking about the band Three Doors Down. The drummer, Greg Upchurch, is joining me tonight because Greg actually has started a solo project, we're going to call it. And Greg, thanks so much for joining me, first of all, on The Dark. How you doing?
I am good. I am enjoying the sunshine and fresh air and just sitting on my porch because that's about as far as I can go. So I'm just, I'm pushing the boundaries. I'm not going to work or I'm not seeing anybody. So I figure I got to get out of the house somehow.
Absolutely. You told me you're just outside of Nashville. Well, what's the weather like in Nashville? We just had some snow here the other day, and in fact, I think our morning temperature here was about like 10 degrees this morning.
Yeah, it's not that here, but we've had a lot of rain, and just today it's a little chilly, but but just sunny, no clouds, which so we finally got that.
Awesome. Hey, I want to get to know you a little bit more, and obviously the song that you put out, Skin to Skin. But before we get to the Skin to Skin, I really want to ask you a question. What got you into music? How did you become an artist? What is, I guess, the reason you decided to choose that path in life?
I don't know. I mean, because people ask me the same question a lot of times about, I don't understand how you play drums, like how this leg's doing this and this arm's doing this. It's kind of like, it chose me, I feel like. It's like I gravitated towards it at a young age. I think when I first heard Kiss and, then I heard Queen, then I heard the Beatles, and then there was, and I was, a kid in the 70s, and so I was obsessed with it. I mean, my walls were covered in music. I don't know. I just kept getting better and better at it because I kept doing it in my bedroom all the time. But now it's like, I love music because it's like so nostalgic to me. Like, if I can hear a song and I swear my heart will break just like it did in 8th grade when I think of Cheryl. You know what I mean? Like, it can take me back to any place in time, more than anything. And that's the magic of it.
I hear you. It's great that artists are able to branch out and do a lot of different things. And you kind of did that with this song, Skin to Skin. You kind of were forced to do something because everybody's going crazy right now, having to be kind of stuck inside. And is this kind of what you decided to get a release and say, hey, I need to do something?
Yeah, I mean, because it all happened by accident, this whole thing, really, because I never intended to release a single or try to start a solo career or anything like that. I mean, I wrote this song 3 weeks ago. So what happened was I was in the process of opening up a coffee shop. Like, I've been trying to open up this coffee shop for about 2 years now. Oh. And I've been trying to get, it's kind of like my retirement back in my hometown in Oklahoma on the lake where I love it, just real peace and quiet and small little town. So I was down there and finalizing the whole thing, finally got my funding together for it. And then they announced the South by Southwest Music Festival was being canceled because of the coronavirus. And so I was like, that's crazy. And so I was going home for a few days to finish up some stuff and then go back to start work on building the coffee shop, and then everything shut down. So I was just depressed. And then I have an engineer friend of mine who rents my basement out, and he's usually touring with Craig Morgan. He's a modern engineer. And he's like, you should write a song about this. Because I was so depressed, and I wrote it like in 20 minutes. I just got exactly how I was feeling out and then wrote it. And I was like, dude, let's go track this. So I just played every instrument because we're in quarantine. I can't, what else are you going to do? So I just did it all in like a day or two. And I think it was the whole thing was 3 days.
3 days.
Being done. We wrote it one day, recorded the next, and mixed it the day after that, and it was done.
Wow.
And then I just kind of like, I guess I'll put this out. Why not? What the hell, you know? And it's kind of taken on a life of its own. As people have like, you know, messaging me and saying, you know, I feel the same way, and I think people are finally, or not finally, but just excited to have something new out there because there's nothing new happening other than this coronavirus.
Right.
There's no news. There's no new TV shows. There's no new music right now, except for, you know, so it was an opportune time for me to do this, but it was all unintentional. You know, it's not like I had this grand scheme. Oh, man, when the pandemic comes one day, I'm going to have a song. And, it's, you know, it just doesn't work that way.
I gotcha.
It's pretty natural.
Yeah. What was the toughest part, I guess, for you to put together this song?
Nothing. There was nothing tough about it. That's the thing. It happened so easy. I mean, when I wrote the song, the toughest part of writing a song is the first line. It's like, what is the song about? What is this going to... So I already kind of knew what it was about, and then I was sitting up there where I like to write my songs. I'm looking out the window, and I'm thinking of my 14-year-old who, his best friends live right next door, 2 houses, or like the next door house, and then the very one that over there. They're all best friends in this whole area. And everybody's locked up in their house. They can't go outside. They can't, you know, hang out together and do stuff. So that's where that first line of the song came from, is like, you know, I look outside and there's no one left to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, then it was just off to the races after that. It was like, I don't even remember. I was just like, it was easy. Because I was just like, all that stuff about me, it's like just me going my daily life, how I feel. Because I thought about Willie Nelson's quote, like, a great song is 3 chords and the truth. So I'm like, just say the truth, exactly how I feel. And because the way I'm looking at it is like, the whole world is feeling the same exact way right now, which is crazy to think about. When does that ever happen? That everyone almost on this globe feels the same emotion, the same anxiety, the same fear, the same hope, the same everything. It's crazy. It's a unique energy, I guess you'd call it, in the world right now, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's mind-boggling what has happened, and I got a few questions I do want to ask you later on about that, but I want to continue with the song. And let me ask you. You know, you're a drummer. Have you done any singing before?
No, I've never sang before. This is the first song I've ever sang.
Wow.
I mean, and that's the thing is like I sent it to Brad and Chris. You know, Brad, the singer and the guitar player of the band, and I was like, check this out. And Brad sent back a text and like, I'm Mike now. So now he's like, you're singing background vocals now. I know you can sing. So and now I got to get a mic and sing in a mic while I play drums. I was like, well, you know, playing drums and singing at the same time is a little different. I mean, I can do it, but it's not going to be as good. I can promise you that.
Right.
I'm back there huffing and puffing. I'm like, and I got to start worrying about when I breathe. I'm just worried about if I can breathe.
So now, since you've got a song out, have you thought about some other songs now? Or is your mind thinking here, okay, this one was okay, and people are seeming to dig it? Do I need to do some more stuff?
Well, I mean, I've got another song I did at this, you know, about the same time as I did this one, and they're kind of similar. But like, I got a lot of songs. I just never. The thing is, what this has done is it just given me confidence that you know what. Maybe these songs that I write aren't, because I don't plan for anybody, really. I mean, I don't. They're just for me.
Right.
And this is kind of like, maybe I can do this, but my songs, you know, are kind of all over the place. I might write something that sounds like the one, you know, Skin to Skin, then I might write one that sounds like Jackson Brown or something. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, I'm kind of all over the place. I just don't know what emotion or how it's going to feel, because, I mean, I don't want to sound the same way, just not from a commercial standpoint, but just as a personal standpoint. I like to, you know, kind of be all over the place, but it's always going to end up sounding like me, because there's only, you know, my voice is a very specific little area that I can go into as my voice. I find, you know, I'm not going to be doing any Chris Cornells. I'm not going to be, you know, any Tom Waits, the other way. You know, I'm just going to sound like me.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned Chris Cornell, and you actually, I believe, had a chance to perform with him a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I toured with him in '99 and 2000 when he did a record called Euphoria Morning. It was his first solo record. And I actually worked with him just before that on a song called Sun Shower, which was on the Great Expectations soundtrack, which is probably my favorite song he's ever written. And then we did a song called Ave Maria, which is obviously Ave Maria. Mm-hmm. We did that for a very special Christmas. And then we did the solo record, and then we toured for about almost 2 years all over. And the crazy thing about it is we were going to start a band because I was in the band 11.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And very underground band, but a lot, very well respected because Alan and Natasha are the two most brilliant musicians that's ever lived to me. Mm-hmm. But and Chris felt the same way, I guess, because we were going to start a band together after that tour, and then all of a sudden the audio sleeve thing happened, and we were like, it just the wind out of because. I mean, imagine that, dude. You're about to be in a band with Chris Cornell, possibly the greatest singer in the history of rock and roll. And then it's about to happen, and all of a sudden, audio slate happens.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I was pissed off, but I was like, damn, it does sound good. I was like, I was disappointed nonetheless. But that ended up leading me to Puddle of Mud at that time. And then the other two, Alan and Natasha, which they always kept 11, but they ended up kind of playing with Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep.
Mostly.
Absolutely. You mentioned with Chris Cornell, you mentioned Puddle of Mud, and now you're obviously the drummer of Three Doors Down, which you've been there. It's been like 15 years, hasn't it?
15 years.
It's a long time.
That's a long time for a band to be in existence.
Yeah.
To be in a band that was already established, because they've achieved something with their career that, everybody looks to achieve is longevity and also timeless music. Like Kryptonite will be here forever.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs. There's a handful of them that are just, you hear it, you know exactly what it is.
And it's funny. It's a song that's always covered by every band. I mean, if you're in a small club and you're watching a band that's doing like covers, that's always a cover they play.
Right. Or then you can go to Here Without You, which is another timeless song. I mean, that's the one thing about those guys is like, that's what you look to achieve as a band is like, can I play this? Will people still come and see me play these songs when I'm 70 years old if I wanted to? And people will.
Right. We're talking with Greg Upchurch, the drummer of Three Doors Down. He wrote a song, produced. He's got a video. It's called Skin to Skin. It's on our Facebook page. We'll play Skin to Skin coming up here in a little bit. Let me ask you this question. Obviously the coronavirus is happening. Everything is basically shut down. What is your feeling, I guess, about this pandemic and what it's going to do with the music industry?
God, your guess is as good as mine. It really is. I mean, it really comes down to a vaccine, and because not just for concerts, because the thing is like, with downloads and stuff, there's not, artists aren't making the money that, for songwriting. It's just really difficult. And so you have live shows, tours, concerts, and now that's gone. So as a musician, you're like, okay, I can't even play in front of people. So now, you get a lot of these people because musicians just have to play. So that's why you're seeing all these Facebook people doing live concerts in their basements and stuff because they just have to play. They have to perform.
Right.
It's what they love to do. And so you're taking that away now. But people love concerts, and there'll be a way. I don't know when, I don't know how, but we're going to have festivals because you're going to tell me that also, like, they're not going to have any football games or, because those are the same kind of thing. It's like you're going to need a stadium full of people to do these. You're not going to be playing sporting events in front of no audience.
Right.
Without, it's like doing it'd be the same thing as doing a concert with no audience. It's actually more silly to do a football game to me, but like, why not film a concert in front of Madison Square Garden with nobody there?
Yeah. Or you have to take out 3 seats because you got to be 6 feet away.
That's not going to happen. Yeah,
I just being kind of facetious about it, but I mean, it's like, yeah, at some point things have to get back to a normal, but then again, what is going to be normal? Because what are used to normal probably won't be normal anymore.
I know. But that's what I say that in the song. That's what I mean.
Right.
When I'm talking about it, it's like, that's when I know that is when I can touch somebody. And granted, I don't mean like shaking hands, because I think those days are gone. But like a festival, like when you're doing those music festivals and people are out there, like and people are touching each other, and that's the energy of a group of people that can't be replicated in any way. So I can't believe that those days are gone. I can't. I refuse to. Like I said, something will happen. Hopefully, we'll have concerts for everybody that's been tested and they don't have it. It'd be like an ID to get into the venue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Check your temperature at the gate or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's really the question. And let me ask, for a band like you guys, Three Doors Down, how does it, and this is kind of a two-part question, but how does it affect a band like you that's been around for many years, that has kind of established themselves? And then the second part of that question, how does this affect new and up-and-coming bands? Are we going to see bands no longer being able to be together because they can't make it? So that's kind of a two-part question for you.
Well, I mean, as far as what we're doing, we had a tour lined up, and obviously we don't have any announcements to make about that, but, we're just waiting to see, obviously, like everybody else, but, not looking good nonetheless, but don't know. But, I mean, if you are a band, I mean, like, we're writing online. Like, we've had every Thursday and Friday, we have a songwriting Zoom meeting. So going back to my point of musicians just have to make music, is that, if we can't tour, because we've had some time off and everybody was kind of like on vacation, so to speak, for a few months, just not doing anything musical, but because we had this tour coming up. Well, then now we don't know, so we've got to do something. So musically, let's write. And I think, releasing this song by myself and doing this kind of like inspired them to like, let's write. Let's start writing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't get together. But we can do it on Zoom. At least, and like, we have to adapt.
Right. Well, it's funny, though, because, Greg, in today's world, you don't even have to be together to perform at least a song for an album, because, you might lay the drums down and then, Brad says this and Chris does this, and, you're in all different areas, and then your producer and that puts it together, and then boom, there it is.
Yeah, technically, we could record a record, have somebody come in there and record something and then go in there and disinfect the place, and then come out and somebody else come in there and disinfect the place again. No. I mean, technically, like I said, everything is adapting and evolving. Like you were saying, life won't be the same. Maybe this is the new normal.
Right.
Maybe this is how records and things are done, where like everything's done piece by piece. I hope not, because that takes... The band needs to play together to get the song developed before you even record it. You can't just record a song without ever playing it together and it having a vibe.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and so the second part of that question, I guess, is for future up-and-coming bands, young bands, baby bands, all that kind of stuff. Do you feel that they're going to struggle in a situation like this right now? Because, obviously they're really focused on, the live shows, the merchandise to make them work. Do you think it's going to be a struggle for those bands right now?
Absolutely. I mean, it really already was. I mean, the industry was, taking hit after hit after hit, but you just can't stop it. Like, musicians are still going to do it. They're going to find a way to play. They just are, for the love of it and the dream of it. And like I said, it will change one day, and we will be able, because you can't get rid of it. Live music.
Right.
You just can't.
I
don't know. I mean, it's like I said, I'm curious to see what this evolves into, what transpires from this.
I'm really curious, because I do a lot of interviews with up-and-coming bands, and so that's why I'm kind of picking your brain as a band that's been around for many years that people know. I'm kind of curious, Do you feel like you might have to even go back? Because there might be the fear at first, for instance, of the concert venue. Let's say there's 20,000 people, which, you guys are used to playing in front of. All of a sudden, people are fearful of having all these people around, so they don't want to come. Do you guys think you might even have to strip down to go back to like you were in your original root days and playing smaller venues to start to get this thing going again?
Oh, I think the smaller venues are actually more tight-fitting. Like,
right.
I think it'll affect the capacity levels. Like a venue that used to be like an open ballroom, let's say, that was 2,500 people. It's probably going to be closer to 1,200 people or 1,000 people. So but hopefully they'll be able to get these, antibody tests and find out who is immune to the disease as well. Maybe there's a lot more people immune to it than we think. Maybe there's some good news that can come, I don't know, from doing that. But we're going to have to be innovative of how we do it and smart, because, like, I'm with Fauci and them was like, just stay inside till this thing is out. I don't want to go through this again.
Right. No, we don't.
We can't. So the thing is, if we have to bite the bullet and suck it up and figure it out, we got to do that, because nobody wants, next year, we got another one, that can't happen.
Right. Hey, we're talking to Greg Upchurch, the drummer of the band Three Doors Down. His latest song is called Skin to Skin. I got to ask you, you mentioned the coffee shop thing, and it got me thinking, because last year I had a chance to talk with David Ellefson from Megadeth, and he actually made a coffee shop down here in Minnesota. He's actually from Jackson, Minnesota, a small town in Minnesota, and he did a coffee shop and kind of had this coffee thing. Where did you get the idea to decide to do a coffee shop?
Well, I got sober about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And when I go back to my mom's house where I grew up in the little town, it's like a little resort town in Oklahoma. I don't go to the bars anymore, so I'm like, okay, I drink a lot of coffee, but there's no coffee shop there. And I was like, I always thought about that. That's what this place needs. Well, my mom she owned a building, right? It's one red light town, too. So it's funny. It's a one red light town.
Yeah, okay.
And Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani live there, too.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, it's a lake. It's a cool little lake town. And I'm like, okay, well, I like coffee, so this place needs coffee. So my idea was, like, since I grew up here and everybody knows me, I'll bring all my gold records. I got like 20 gold and platinum records and Billboard Music Awards, a Grammy. I got all this stuff. I'm like, I'll put all this in this coffee shop, and then I'm going to get a collection of like a few hundred vinyl records and a turntable, and the customers can go and actually pull out a record and put a record on. Like, I'm listening to cool old vinyl records from, like, cool stuff. And I was like, this is going to be a great idea. Well, they passed the medical marijuana law in Oklahoma, and the only the marijuana place in town opened up right next door. And I'm like, I got to get this off the ground.
Yes.
Because I'm like, how does that not make money? How does that not be successful? You got a medical marijuana place. You can go next door and have coffee, listen to, Fleetwood Mac on Rumours on vinyl, and have a croissant or a Danish. It's like, that sounds like a good day.
How did you know that was my dad's favorite album, by the way, the Rumours album?
I was listening to it yesterday. That's why I thought of that.
As a kid growing up, I heard that all the time in the late 70s. I mean, it's, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a great record. That was my dream. And because I was like, as a musician, I've accomplished enough for me. I've exceeded my expectations growing up in this small town, wanting to be a rock star.
Right.
And then I'm like, just to be able to go back and then live on that lake, I'm like, man, if I could just be 70 and fish and play golf every day and just drink coffee and chill out and listen to music, write songs, that is heaven. Yeah. That is absolute heaven to me. So that's what this coffee shop was for. It was my dream. It was my retirement, my way to support, because, I'm like, I'm gone pretty far in this industry, and I've been able to do well, but I'm like, I'm ready to try something else.
There you go.
Then obviously this happened. And so I was pissed off, and I wrote this song, and this is okay. And I was like, that'd be something if I made enough money off this song to open that coffee shop.
Nice. Well,
wouldn't that be so? That'd be crazy.
Well, you should reach out to David Ellison from Megadeth and ask him how he did it. So that'd be kind of cool.
Well, yeah, I was looking for loans because like I own the building. I just need to buy all the equipment and all that stuff, and that's expensive.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, because I want the way I want to do it is I'm not going to half-ass this. You know, it's got to be nice and clean and renovated. And so I was like, you know, and I had it all worked out. I had the loan. I had a woman that was going to invest in it. My mom's friend. It was all worked out, and then this. So it kind of put it on hold, but we'll see. I'm not going to give up on it because I am going to build it because we are going to get back to. I'm living my life like we're going to come back. I don't know when.
Right. Absolutely.
But, I mean, I'm too old to start over again. I don't even know how to use a computer. So I'm like, we're not doing this whole, you know, I'm not quite ready for that yet.
I got you. Trust me, I have 3 daughters, some twin daughters, and they help me out with pretty much all the technology because I'm not very good with it, unless it's in the studio here, I guess.
Right.
Hey, you know, one thing I got to ask you, you know, and I'm sure you get asked this, well, maybe you don't get asked this question, but, you know, everybody comes up to you because you're in a well-known band, so they kind of get the starstruck feel, like, oh, you know, that's the band 3 doors down and whatnot. Do you ever get starstruck, and have you been starstruck before?
Yes. I mean, probably... Well, Chris Cornell was a big one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was also about 25 years old when that happened.
Right.
So that was my first like rock star kind of meeting. But I mean, Brett Favre was a big one.
Okay, yeah.
And Drew Brees was a big. The coolest Drew Brees moment though, because like I met him and I was like, oh my God, it's Drew Brees. Because I'm a Saints fan. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's Drew Brees. And I was going nuts. Because we're playing in Vegas, and he was doing something for his charity event. So somebody brought him down, and he sort of hanging the dressing room. Well, they said, okay, you can sit on the side of the stage. So they put Drew Brees and his wife, Brittany, in these 2 little chairs off to the side of the stage where, you know, nobody could see him and from the crowd. Well, we could see him. So I'm sitting there playing, and I see him. I throw a drumstick at him. And it lands on the stage and it doesn't go all the way. And he looked like he was a little kid. He got so excited. He jumped up and ran on the stage and grabbed that drumstick and ran back and showed his wife. I was like, that's the coolest I've ever done.
Nice. That is awesome.
I threw Drew Brees a drumstick and he got excited about it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Hey, Greg, it's been a lot of fun getting to know you a little bit more. Of course, the fans up here in central Minnesota got to see your band last year at Lakes Jam. Do you remember that show at all last year? And I know you said you were looking for the money from Fargo, you said, in the ditch somewhere, right?
Yeah, right. I was looking for that in every ditch I could find. I knew it was out there somewhere.
And you said you wanted to go see Paul Bunyan, too.
Right. I want to see that. Well, like I said, I was excited about Brainerd because Fargo's like one of my favorite movies, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting on Google and I'm like, Yahoo, like, where's this Paul Bunyan? Where's the Welcome to Brainerd? Where's, you know, I'm looking for, like, I'm going to do a travel day of the city. I found that, like, no, that was done in different places. It was filmed in different. I was like, oh man, but it was beautiful nonetheless. And I just remember that the runner that picked me up from the hotel from the shower to get me the gig was very sweet.
Nice. Yeah, well, I know you had a great show that night, and, you know, we're looking forward to more shows, too, and I'm sure that's what you guys are looking for, too, aren't you?
Man, I'd do anything to go play a show right now up there in Wisconsin. Right now, it's snow. I don't give a shit. Blizzard. Bring it on. I'll play through anything right now.
I hear you. Hey, you know what? If people want more information about your song, Skin to Skin, how can they get that?
Well, like I said, I'm new at this because I'm doing this all myself. I don't have a label, a manager. I mean, the band does, but me, I don't. So I've got my Facebook. We have Greg Upchurch Music, and then you can get the song on Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much most of the streaming services like Amazon. I don't even know what it's like. You
can just listen to it.
It used to be Warner Brothers, Geffen, Interscope. Now it's Amazon, YouTube.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Isn't that crazy how the music industry's changed in 20 years?
Oh my God, it's a different thing. I feel like the way of the coal miner. It's like the industry is just changing before my eyes. Everybody's driving electric cars. It's like, it is what it is.
You know what? I think it's funny, and I'm sure you're going to relate to a same story like this, but I'm sure back when you were a young kid and you might have talked to your grandparents or whatever and said, yeah, boy, you guys are really old kind of thing. You'd said something. We're feeling that like our grandparents now, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. It's like, I remember when they played the national anthem and TV went off, and you just went to bed.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now it's like, my son's up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like in the wormhole of YouTube. I'm like, go to bed.
Oh, Greg. Hey, a lot of fun talking to you. I wish you the best of luck with this song, and get back out there on tour again, okay?
I'd love to do that. Hopefully I will see you up there next time, face-to-face, before we get on stage. That would be lovely.
Awesome. Once again, that is Greg Upchurch. His latest song is called Skin to Skin. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM 94.